Do you know Hradec Kralove? I do. I study at the Faculty of Medicine here. Come with me, I'll show you around. The great thing about Hradec is that you can get anywhere in 10 minutes. Well, maybe not 10 because I'm running late again. Oh, by the way, this is our dean. The career of every doctor always has to start with anatomy. Every new student looks forward to the first class. Well, it's not for everyone. Don't be scared though, some of us were able to stay on our feet. After lunch, we usually head to the educational center. We have lectures here, but to be honest, we love to go here to have a cup of coffee and chill out with our friends. And sometimes we have to study too. Studying medicine is definitely not easy, but the relaxed lectures and modern facilities help us a lot. All the books we need we get in our library, and the study materials are passed on from older students. After that, it's plain sailing. You just won't get much sleep until the Christmas break comes. Our university hospital is one of the best in the Czech Republic. That's where we get to pretend we're already doctors. And from the third year on, we're here almost every day. But pretty soon, things started getting quite interesting. Don't fool yourself. We're not saving anyone's life yet, but it's nice to feel important. Sometimes they even let us touch the scalpel, and some of us are quite talented. We still have a lot to learn if we don't want to be replaced by robots. It's crucial to be able to switch off and take a break from the studies. If I want to be alone in nature, I don't have to travel anywhere. We even have time for fun, sports, or even other activities. There's always something happening. Concerts, balls, theater plays, there's culture all around. There aren't many people in our group. Maybe that's what makes it special. At the end of the day, medicine has always been about teamwork, and that's how we treat the school as well.
Good morning, hello to you students who are here with us in person, and also to you who are watching us online. Welcome to our live stream from the Charles University Faculty of Medicine in Hradec Kralove. My name is Lucy, and I will be guiding you through this live stream. With me is also here Vice Dean for Study Programs in English, Professor Rudolf. Then Dr. Kapitan from the Department of the Dentistry. Also our graduate, Dr. Daphne Katopodi from the Department of Dentistry. And then we have few students here, so we are able to answer all of your questions and cover all topics possible that are related to our faculty and study. Also, if you have any questions about admission or entrance exam, feel free to ask ladies from the study department, Jitka and Simona. As a part of our agenda today, we will tell you more about our university, why you should pick a Charles University, and what are the main benefits. And also, we will tell you more about our faculty, what study programs you can study here, what admission is like, and something about organization study. Also, we will have time for your questions, which you wrote to our Slido app, at which you can still write, and our students will answer them at the end of our live stream. So enjoy it, guys, and now it's time for me to pass the word to Professor Rudolf, who will introduce our faculty and university. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Warm welcome to all of you, either online or just here in this hall. I'm going to run a very short presentation. I'm not sure whether I won't repeat myself, because what you've just seen in the initial video sequence told you everything about the HK. So that will be a bit more formal now, perhaps. So we're talking about the Faculty of Medicine, Hradec Kralove. We are not the only Faculty of Medicine at Charles University. Some of you might have known already that the Charles University is very large. Together, it features 5 different faculties of medicine. 3 of them are in the Prague, 1, 2, 3, and 2 of them are outside. We are one of those outsiders. That doesn't mean that we feel as outsiders, but we're simply outside the Prague. And there is another one in Plzeň. So I would talk mostly about just the faculty you are just right now here. As a Faculty of Medicine, we do offer several study programs. The study programs which, for the most candidates or for most those who are interested in the medicine, they fall into 2 categories. The category number 1 is kind of general medicine. I'm going to speak about it a little bit more in detail. And the second one, the dentistry, which I will only hint a little bit because my colleague, Dr. Kapitan from the dentistry clinic, is definitely much better expert than I am. I might tell you a little bit more about that. So, talking about the general medicine, it's a classical master's course which takes 6 years to complete. It's a traditional curriculum, as we will see, that is usually that first 2 years kind of theory, a bit of structure of the body, function of the body. 2 other years is about taking the first skills, preclinical skills of being already in the hospital, and the last 2 years being, of course, in the hospital where the students are meant to rotate and get the more sort of practical and clinical experiences. The students who graduate with us, as well as with other faculties of medicine, similar kind, they graduate with the local title MUDR, which for you probably means nothing because it's a Latin abbreviation, but important is that it's sort of like equivalent to the MD title, which is internationally recognized. How many candidates do we have? How many of them we do admit every year? We're trying to keep relatively low profile, so we're not looking for the huge crowds and huge numbers, partially because we're not huge faculty, and we would like the course to be kind of intensive, but also to be fun. So max intake, which is once a year, about 105 students. At the moment, if I'm not mistaken, total number of the international students starting in this faculty is a few hundreds. The course, unfortunately, because it's in English, is not for free, so it has certain financial obligations, which are important for the sponsors of the students. So this is also to tell you how much we charge in Czech crowns, which is, again, kind of difficult for you to interpret. That's why we have here also the sort of cost in euros. Of course, that concerns only tuition fee, not the cost of livings, which could be highly individual depending the place a given candidate studies. Now, the important thing is when the one graduates from the general medicine course, the story is not over, at least not for the 99% of those who want to pursue medicine, because they will have to further study, practice, and specialize. So in the end, the pathway is not 6 years, but very often it will be 10 plus years, because that includes the times of the residencies and other obligations, which then depend on the country where this given doctor then continues in his professional life. This is then different than in case of the dental course, because the dentistry, which is also taught here, even though it is fully sort of a master's course, and which has also a little bit different conclusion in terms of the title, lasts only 5 years. And because it is fully adherent to the EU criteria, which say that after 5 years, any possible future dentist should be fully prepared, in principle, after graduating from us, the dentist or the one who completed the course is ready to start his or her own business, so to speak. So without any need for obligatory specialization, which is probably also one of the crucial differences between the courses of general medicine and dentistry. The course is very intensive, is differently programmed, means that students are, from the first moment they enter the course, really pushed to show the hand skills, because that is what they will need, unlike perhaps the first years in formative learning in general medicine, where this is just not an accent, at least at the very beginning. The course is also to be paid for, and the costs are approximately similar to the general meds, even though they're a little bit higher, because of course dentistry is much more demanding as far as the human resources, as well as the material resources, as well as the tools used. All right, the study of the medicine is not about the theory, even though still a lot of theory has to be learned. It's about the practice skills, which we may call a clinical skills. So that's why all our students are assigned and they do practice in a university hospital. Our university hospital is one of the largest medical facilities of this kind in this area of the Czech Republic, having, you know, these many employers, these many doctors, these many patients, which ensures in a way that there is a good selection of various diagnoses, various patients the students may see, may learn the practical experience. It's just not really a low profile. On top of that, those who study in our courses and they graduate from us, whether Czech course or English course, they still, in principle, if they graduate, they gain the job, or they could just join us and they could continue in their at least first initial post-graduation years with our university hospitals. It just doesn't mean that if you study the English program that you have to end up abroad. No, you may very easily end up here, because we have lots of things to offer. Well, that part is probably the most important for those who consider our faculty as an option. That's about the admission. Admission is sort of easy. Online application, not everybody should be like versed with the online things. There is a certain fee. It's very simple. Who can just apply? Whoever wants and whoever just aims to have the completed secondary education in a given year. This year, the deadline for the applications is the end of April, so April at 24. Eligibility, simple. Complete your secondary education. Good news is that we don't really look at your grades. If you're topper, excellent for you. If you're not topper, excellent for you, because we don't care. We care for the baseline, because at the very beginning, once all those students will join our course, they're on the same page. And they have to prove themselves, so it doesn't really matter whether they have already title or they've been really excellent students, because they would have to still prove themselves. They have to pass through the entrance exam. Entrance exam is kind of standard thing, so it features the 3 subjects, biology, chemistry, and choice between the physics and mathematics. All of them are single best answer questions, so usually question 5 possible answers, one of them is correct. The answers are appointed, or they're given a point. 1 question, 1 point. We're looking at the best score. We don't have the negative marking. That's also kind of interesting thing. Plus, a little interview, which many of the candidates and applicants are a little bit concerned about. What should I be asked and what should I not be asked? The interview is not formal. Interview is informal to such an extent that we expose those who sit in the interview to certain scenario, certain situation, certain, I don't know, like experience, and we seek to hear about their opinion, about their interpretation, about their reaction. Because studying medicine is not learning about the facts, but also we require much more skills. Social communication, we require their reactions. And some of our reactions actually tell us more about the candidate than the fact that whether he knows how to say all the human bones by heart and things, because it does not really matter. So this is interview. It's very simple, 2 questions, points, and altogether score in the written as well as in oral are they taken as a total score, and if it's beyond the cutoff line, we give you the offer. If the offer is accepted, then continue. Then all the affair continues with the respect of how do I apply for visa, or how do I arrange my arrival in the Czech Republic, HK, and so forth. The dates for the entrance exams are various. We organize them in several different places along the time range. The one which might be of the interest for all those, regardless whether they are here or whether they are online space, is that we have the one in online. It's in May 24. Actually, it's the 14th of May. And they could just sit home, they could have the test by their own computer and also online interviews. So that's definitely one option. Of course, the other dates and the terms of the entrance exam are published on our website. So for those who would just seek to have it in their own country, they might find much more better place. So that's, I think, the very important thing for those who would consider the application this year or in the future. So now very few things, because I don't want to bother audience with a lot of details. They have no idea about is how do I go about it? Okay, I said, sure, I'd like to sit in the entrance exam. What should I do? I should definitely check my knowledge, and I should just make sure that I'm prepared for the test. So that's easy, because if you log in on our website lfhk.cuni.cz, the section on the applicants, there is definitely one thing. There is published past paper or past year test that anyone could download, including the right answers, and you know exactly what sort of questions were asked, so you have the idea, you have the leads. If it doesn't ring a bell because you have still some doubts, you could also find the next door the syllabus, recommended literature, so you know exactly what kind of questions, what kind of topics would be required, and you could prepare yourself or with the help of any specialized course. Or eventually, if you don't know really how to go about it, you could just drop us a message, and just we will just answer you to this extent. So the preparation is not really too difficult. Remember that we're not trying to play exclusivity. We're trying to give the good offer to all those who have idea about medicine and who want to study medicine, because in itself the decision itself is very complicated. So just imagine that you're already entered into the course. You're already students. How you go about these studying? Well, organization of the study follows certain principles which are university equal. That means timing of the academic year. Usually the tuition begins at the end of September, the beginning of October, and continues, technically speaking, until the end of the September of the next year. The study is broken into two segments. We call it winter semester, summer semester, which are just separated by the exam periods when the students do not have the classes, but they do need to sit exams. If they complete them early, they got the free time, or they could do whatever they actually want. How the students do study? They should formally attend the lectures, which is now changing because some of the lectures are also online or in alternative forum, and they have obligatory in-person practical classes, seminars, and they also have some other online forms of the education. So that is a wide range of the different ways, and different subjects usually have the specific arrangements of these ways how to study, because today, of course, we don't want to waste our time and things. Important thing is to add at this point is that if the students need to prove their knowledge and skills, it's through the exams. Throughout the year, it could be written tests, but mostly at the end, they will sit oral exams, which is a bit different than in other universities abroad, in the US and elsewhere. Why the students need to sit the oral exams? Because it's a strong belief that if one wants to be a doctor and one wants to communicate with the patient, so the one would not examine the patient online, but would not examine the patient with use some digital device, but the one uses its own personal skills, its personal magic. So also, if you want to explain something to a patient, you're not going to do it by passing him some written note. You need to talk to him, you need to see his face, and that's why these oral exams actually make sense. Because in that way you prove that you can explain things, you could make the social contact, which is in medicine of very important nature. Each student has 3 chances for the exam to pass, one regular take and then 2 retakes, and mostly it's just not a problem in this aspect. Okay, so that's about the things about concerning study, and now a little travel agency to speak why you should consider this faculty in Hradec Kralove and HK. Why the HK? Well, I'm going to give you a couple of reasons, but I'm not travel agent, so I'm not just booking next trip to you. So I try to put some facts. The place, some people say is beautiful, but that it's just not important because there are many beautiful places in the world. But what it's appealing to me personally is that the place is just right size. It's not too big, not too noisy, because I don't like the noisy places. I don't like the noisy, very crowded places where there are lots of tourists and I'm just in the middle of crowd and I don't stand out. But at the same time, it's just not in the middle of nowhere. It's just not a village where, everything is dead, so to speak. So it offers, in my opinion, the right balance. And with that balance comes also some other benefits, like the safety, smaller place, better safety, of course, and kind of friendliness, and also what was stated in initial video, and that is the distances. At my age, the one thing which really matters is the time. And I don't want to waste my time. And whenever I'm in a large place, whether in the Czech Republic, like in the Prague, or in the Brno, or any abroad, I waste a lot of my time by commuting from one place to another. Here, I'm using my bicycle. It takes 10 minutes to reach every spot I need. If I walk at 20 minutes, which is at my age, great benefit. It might be benefit to you because, you could plan accordingly. That the class begins, say, at 8, and you stay very close by the faculty. So you may allow yourself certain indulgence. So you may wake up to 7:30. And in 15 minutes I finish. You still got plenty of time to reach the place and be comfortable. Forget about that if you stay in a large place where you will have to plan time accordingly ahead. You will have to wake up 1-2 hours ahead in order to catch this commission. So that's just definitely something which works for a little benefit at our place. One other thing, so we are very friendly with the students, so we do try to provide them with the literature, now mostly online and things, which is in a specialized library. Of course, they're free of charge. That's just taken for granted. You're now, at least those of you who are physically, you're in so-called the old building. We're trying with all efforts to build the new facilities, which will be modern. Even the old building has the modernized rooms, so that students do not feel like they're in a dilapidated house, but they're in something which really corresponds to the recent developments of medicine. Some of you have already seen our Simsan. Of course, with the new campus, the Simsan would be also modified, would be expanded, where the state-of-the-art machines and the dummies work well, because the students start working with them since the first year in order to learn comfort, certain skills, in order to be sort of like a self-assured before they touch the human flesh and the human body. Now, this is the picture of the already first part of the campus, where I personally, as the member of the Department of Medical Biology and Genetics, stay. It's next to University Hospital, and then next to it, the now new center the rest is being built, so that this old building would be abandoned, and all the apartments and everything would be concentrated along with the Faculty of Pharmacy in this one huge campus next to the University Hospital for the comfort and benefit of every party, teachers, scientists, as well as the students. So what it takes to study medicine? Well, study subjects, learn as you go, and pass. What else to do? Well, in terms of your future job, it might be also very interesting that you would focus on something what we call extracurricular activity. And first one, which very often the future employers ask you, whether you've been involved to a sort of like a research. Research is a part of medicine. Research is fun. It's just like a play game for the adults. And every department, of course, here has research programs, and the students are incentivized, invited, and offered the chance to join in, just to see it, just to do something with their hands or with their mind, just to have fun and also have a couple of added benefits. And what are these benefits? One of them, which is exclusive to HK, is a very competitive and very prestigious research stay in the Mayo Clinic in Rochester in the US. They say this is the best clinic in the world, and it's really eye-opener for many of those who've already been there, and some of them, they started their medical career already. So that's the thing which is offered, of course. It's not a must. It's just kind of chance. And their life is about the grasping the chances when we have them in order just to benefit not only from the classes of medicine, but also from something extra, which might be also important. I'm not talking about the food and accommodation, which is taken for granted these days, so it's sort of like a easy, so that will be probably then perhaps for the questions and answers. But what I would like to emphasize is that we are well aware of the fact that students from abroad who come to study with us are differently programmed, maybe for the first time from their family, so they might have lots of issues, lots of doubts and things, and sometimes they would even have the true problems with adaptation. So that's why we have also some services, professionals, counseling, which make sure that in case these doubts are around or something happens, that the students are given support. So they don't feel that they're alone, abandoned by their family and by us, but they're just part of one large community. Yeah, what it takes to be a student. Well, when I was a student at my time, there was no internet, there was no cell phones, there was nothing. There was sort of like an age of dinosaurs. Yet we had the same spectrum of fun. You probably might have as well. So what do students do? They have gatherings, social meetings. They might have just the art. They might have a fun. And everything depends on them. Here with the faculty, we have the ISU, International Student Union. Some of the members are also here, which is the professional organization of international students here. And basically, what they do, they organize events. They help, whether it's sport, whether it's grads night, whether it's culture days. I mean, there's kind of wide range of options. And everything depends only on the student, whether he or she wants to take part in, or whether he doesn't want and doesn't and just prefers something else. So, event-wise, no difference. Whether we end up in the Prague, whether we end up in the London, whether we end up in the HK, at a certain level, it's just the same, and it's just fun to see that studying medicine is not always that serious. It's also fun, and it should be fun because of these things. Well, and just to conclude my little presentation, when all that fun is over, and when that all tuition is over, you're at the stage of graduation. And you will meet us with the very historical hall called Carolinum in the Prague, where the students line up, as you can see there, and with the very ancient ceremony, they're given diploma, they're given title, and their life as a student is over. So that means that they just start a new career, a new pathway in their life, but at the same time they have a chance, and we are very happy if they take up this chance to become members of our alumni club. That is a group of the past graduates who still keep contact with us and who are proud of us as much as we are proud of them. And that's about it. Of course, we're a modern faculty, so we do not only operate through the email, but we have Instagram, we have the Facebook, we have the LinkedIn, we have all these modern social media. I do not myself understand because I'm way too old and thing, but I'm sure that you understand them better. So you could very easily communicate with us using these ways, and with our PR department, with our study department, with our students, in order to learn as much as possible, in order to finally make a good choice. Because this is ultimately what it takes. Life is about choices, and our own faculty represents one possible choice. So thank you very much. In this choicing, I wish you the best of luck, and I'll keep my fingers crossed along with the rest of us who are already part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. So this was the brief introduction. I hope we gave you the most important information about our faculty and university. And now I want to pass the word to Dr. Kapitan, who will introduce dentistry study program.
Thank you for the word, Lucy. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad you came or joined us online. I'm honored to be here. My name is Martin Kapitan. I'm the deputy head of the dentistry clinic of our faculty and university, and today I will be your guide at a tour around our building, and at the same time I will tell you several information about the dentistry study program. This is our building where the arrow points. We are at the area of the University Hospital, and this is the building where our students spend the major part of their dentistry studies. The dentistry study program lasts for 5 years, and out of these 5 years, first 2 years are preclinical, the other 3 years are clinical. During the preclinical years, the students learn about the anatomy and physiology of the teeth, but not only the teeth, but also about the surrounding structures, the oral cavity. They also learn about dental diseases, about dental materials, and about the procedures of the dental treatments. Okay, so this is our main lecture hall where the lectures are carried out. And during the preclinical classes, they work in the phantom labs. The major part of the work is modeling of teeth out of wax. Students also draw the teeth. They learn how to identify the individual teeth, and it's quite fun. It's really practical activity. Here you can see some results of our students. So basically, at the beginning, they receive a kind of wax block, and they are supposed to model it into a tooth with the proper shape. Then later, they start working with the simulators. By the later, I mean in the second semester, so still we are in the first year, when they start working on these simulators, on artificial jaws, on plastic teeth, and they learn and practice how to carry out different dental procedures, such as caries excavation, cavity preparation, placement of the fillings, also preparation for different indirect reconstructions, and also fabrication of these reconstructions. So these were first 2 preclinical years. During the practical lessons, we also emphasize the following of the ergonomic recommendations, because dentistry is a job which is risky for our bodies, and it's necessary to prevent different musculoskeletal disorders and so on. So we always push on students to sit straight and follow other recommendations. Then from the 3rd year, the clinical part of the studies start. The students of the 3rd year have once a week the clinical lessons. In the 4th and the 5th year, they come twice a week, and they work in normal dental offices on the real patients. They always start with the simple procedures like the examination of the patient, the preventive checkup, application of the local anesthesia, the rubber dam placement, extractions of the teeth, and then during time they move to more, let's say, difficult treatments like the treatment of the dental caries, making of bridges, the period treatment, and so on. So here you can see the 3rd year students who practice on themselves first, and then in the 4th year they start treating of the real patients. The teacher to student ratio is 1 to 2 or 1 to 6 on different departments. And I would say we have really extensive practical education, because every time the students come for the clinical practicals, one pair of students have one chair. It means on one chair there are only 2 students who change in the roles of the dentist and the nurse. We also employ modern digital technologies. It means that our students work with the intraoral scanners, with CAD/CAM technologies, with digital modulation of reconstructions. We have the 3D printers and the milling machines, and nowadays most of the work is done in digital virtual settings. So here in the picture in the center, you can see the 3D scanner, which is available to the students, both in the preclinical part and then mainly for the patients. On the other 2 pictures, you can see the 3D printer on the right side and the milling machine on the left side. So here now I will show one of the cases done by the students. It was a patient who needed a crown on his upper lateral incisor. So in this picture it is already prepared. Then we took the 3D scan using the intraoral scanner. This is in the software where the technicians make a virtual model of the reconstruction, and the crown was then milled and finished by the technician and then luted. So this is the type of work which is nowadays done even by our students. Okay, so this is the end of our short virtual visit to our building, and now I will maybe help you to answer the questions which you maybe ask yourselves. First of them may be why dentistry? You heard a lot of information about the general medicine. Now I added some information about dentistry, and maybe you doubt what to choose. So I will maybe tell you my point of view. I would say that dentistry is the balanced combination of medicine, art, and engineering. Even the word dentist consists of 3 parts. The D is for doctor, EN is for engineer, and TIST is for artist. And the dentistry as a branch of medicine includes all these 3 things. During the dental work, you must employ your intelligence, your manual dexterity, your empathy, because you work with people, with patients. Also, you need to employ your sense of aesthetics, your emotions, and precision. So it's everything. And also, if you finish, or when you finish the dentistry studies, you have quite wide range of activities which you can do. If you are more close to medicine, you can do the dental surgery maybe. If you are close to the art and aesthetics, you can do cosmetic or aesthetic dentistry, and you can choose from various different activities and ways of how to work. Another advantage of dentistry compared to the general medicine, which was mentioned by Professor Rudolph already, is that after you finish the dentistry studies, you can immediately start working and performing the job independently, which means that really after 5 years of study, you can start, you don't need any other specialization. So this may be an advantage for maybe some of you. And another advantage which I see on dentistry is that immediately after you do the work, you can see the result. So it's like really satisfying work. Why Hradec Kralove? It was already mentioned. I would confirm that the city is really pleasant, there is a friendly atmosphere, it has an ideal size, maybe ideal position in the heart of Europe, The city is really calm, really safe. You don't have to be worried or afraid to go outside during night. The city is really green with many parks, and there's a lot of nature even inside the city, where you can meet rabbits, for example, if you go out in the morning. And there are short distances, and it was already mentioned. And the last question which I would like to answer is why dentistry in Hradec Kralove? I think we are really students friendly. We have an adaptation program before the start of the studies, because we are aware of the fact that if you come from many other countries, many different countries, from different cultures and so on, you may need some time to adapt to our culture and to the country and the city itself. Another advantage is that we have the dental subjects from the very beginning. It means from the start, from the first year, we will have a lot of dentistry. So it's not only medicine, but the dentistry. The study program is separated from the general medicine. We are a small faculty with quite small number of students, which allows a more individual approach from the teachers. As I mentioned, during the clinical practicals, there are only 2 students per chair, not 4, not 6, like in other faculties. Among our teacher team, we have several graduates of the dentistry study program in English. One of them is sitting here, so you may ask her some questions. You will cooperate really closely with the Czech students during the clinical practicals. The international and the Czech students are mixed, so the pairs of students are composed of 1 international and 1 Czech student, which helps you to communicate with the patients. There is an extensive volume of practical work with the real patients, so not only models, not only simulators, but real setting with real people, with real diseases and real treatment. We work with modern up-to-date technologies, as I mentioned, so it's not only CAD/CAM technologies, but also the operation microscopes, the digital X-rays, and many more. And we also focus on the quality of the graduates. So we want to have a sufficient control on the, I would say, product or result of our education. Okay, so thank you for visiting us. It was a pleasure for me to show you and tell you about our dentistry study program, and I'm looking forward to meet you and welcome you as our new students in the end of September of this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor, for introduction dentistry study program. And now we will be moving on our questions and answers season. So do you have any questions right now? Okay, we can start with our questions from Slido app. But first, I want to introduce more our student, so and also our graduate. So please start with introducing yourself and tell us why did you choose our faculty. So please start, Daphne.
It's on. Yeah. Hello, guys. I'm Daphne Katopodi. I graduated few months ago from the dentistry program. I'm from Greece, so for the past around 6 years I'm living in Czech Republic, here in Hradec Kralove. In my opinion, I think it was the region, the Hradec Kralove, was one of the best choices that I did, because I have contacts with other students in other places of Czech Republic, and they're struggling a bit with transport and with the big environment around them. Here we are really safe. We know so many people around us. Everyone lives close to each other. The neighborhood is full of students. Your building most probably will be your classmates. You're going to have a whole building just with your friends. And as the dentistry program, I don't know how many of you are interested in dentistry. Are there many people or one? One. Two? Okay. Okay, good. As Dr. Capitan already mentioned, is already a specialization by itself. You graduate, you finish in 5 years, and you start working, doing what you like. You can choose on so many options, and in aesthetics, in endodontics, in surgery. If you like surgery, everything is possible. And it's a really friendly environment. Everyone is there to help you, to answer your questions. In the practicals, I started also as helping for the handwork that we have, as you saw with the walks. And we are there for you. Whatever you want to ask, we are there to answer and help you to move forward. And in the clinics, as we start from the 3rd year, you're always going to have a doctor by your side to supervise you, control you, tell you what to do, and help you move forward. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Thanks so much.
Hello, I am Khalid Youssef. So I'm currently a 6th year medical student, and I'm from Egypt. Yeah, so I decided to join the university here. Firstly, luckily, I knew a friend of mine. He was much older than me, and he was with me in school. He had a short presentation about the university, and it was very convincing for me to study here. Firstly, because you're in Europe, so the certificate, you can work with it anywhere in Europe, anywhere in the world, realistically. So one of the greatest options, English program for me. It's not like some places you have to know, you have to study in the language of the country. So here they actually provide an English course, which is an advantage to other places. And yeah, as Daphne said, as Professor Rudolph said, as everyone said, it's a very nice city. We all know each other. If you're going to be walking in the street, you're going to meet a student eventually. Everything takes 10 minutes to be anywhere. It's very friendly, so it's a very good option. And I understand right now, I'd imagine it's a very critical decision you guys are making, so make sure to ask as much as you can. We're here to answer anything. And as Professor Rudolph said as well, no question is stupid, so fire your questions, basically. And thank you.
So, hello everyone. I'm Ahmed Atiyah. I'm a student of general medicine in 6th year. I'm from Egypt. So I decided to join this faculty because it's a relatively small faculty and small city. So it's focused on, you're divided in small groups, and you have a lot of teachers. So you have focused teaching. And you start hands-on from 1st year onwards. As have you seen today in anatomy. So we start with dissection, you go on physiology, you have experiments all along, so you have a guiding steps all throughout the years till you reach your clinical years. And the city is very friendly. It's a small city. Everything is within a walking distance. And the students here, everyone knows each other. Within 10, you get quite familiar with the city in just a few months, I would say. And everything here is very nice. The weather is nice, the nature is nice. And it's a bike city, so you can always commute with bike. You don't have to worry about running late as in other big cities, because you can always just walk or have your bike. Yeah, and as everyone said, we're here to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, please ask.
Hello, my name is Sama. I'm also a 6th year medical student. I think I have a different story that I only applied to Hradec Kralove, and I did not know anyone in Czech Republic. So my father found out about this university, and I only applied here. I did not know anyone from the course. I did not attend any courses. And I got rejected at first, and then I got accepted in June. So I really came in here blind. So if you have any questions about how expectations are, I expected it to be more busy. Like I live in Dubai. It's quite busy most of the time. It's on like till 12 a.m., 1 a.m., no, 12 a.m., 1 a.m. Usually have like cars, usually have activities. But over here it's quite, calm, and it may be your city and maybe not, but it's quite a good study environment because of that. Not a lot of distractions personally for me. It's accessibility is actually very important. I am time anxious, and if I could get 5 minutes of sleep, I would take them. And the accessibility of the buses and the walking distance and the bike rides is quite important. I only appreciated it now after I lived here compared to a busier city life. So you should take into consideration as well whether you prefer a more quiet environment or would you like to have more going on around you. We do have a lot of activities with the ISU, but personally I have not attended any because I was busy with my exams. But they usually organize parties and they organize like Culture Day. I find that very enjoyable because it reminds me of back home. And what else is there? What are you interested in listening about? Anything? Well, I'll mention food, I guess. Food, I usually cook at home. We do have cafeterias in the dorms, and I think there might be one here as well, but I've never tasted it. In terms of food, you will have to find out your own methods and your own way. And it's not so bad. If you know how to cook, it's terrible if you don't, like me. Other than that, I think it's quite the ideal environment for me in 6th year. It might not be when you're new and you want to see everything, but now I could really appreciate it. Also, you should consider housing. Housing prices might be cheaper here than it is in other parts of Czech Republic, as well as, like I said, mine is very close to this university. It takes me 10 minutes walking here. Might take me 7 if I try to run. But that's all I have to say. I try to cover as much as I can. Next.
Hello, I'm Alvin. I'm a medical student of this faculty, and I'm junior to all these guys, so maybe I can relate with you all a little bit. Why did I choose the faculty? Sort of the reverse thing, the faculty chose me. To all the clueless people out there, I was also in your stage where I did not know what to do, where to go. And, okay, obviously you guys know I'm Indian. I decided that I would not pursue medicine in India. And then my dad was like, okay, let's try options here and there. And I wrote a bunch of entrance exams. Fortunately, I got into this one, and only this one as well. So this was my only choice, but I do not regret it one bit because, how do I put it? You guys might think there's a lot of pressure on you to find the right thing or to figure out where exactly you should go. But over the years, all I've understood is that you just need sort of a direction and then things just follow through. So just decide, all right, like all of my colleagues have given wonderful points about why you should choose our faculty. And if they somewhat please you, go ahead, and we are welcoming you guys to our faculty. Yep, that's all.
Thank you very much. And we talk a little bit preparation for the entrance exams. And we have another questions about preparing. So how did you prepare for the entrance exam? For example, Khaled.
So I applied through an agency in Dubai. I don't remember the name now, sadly, but when I applied there, they actually provided materials and sample tests for the entrance exam. As well, I was doing like British curriculum in school, which was very similar. Most of the questions were very familiar. So that helped me. Like the agency provided tests, sample questions, sample answers, actually like lectures to study from and everything. So that made it much easier, and that's how I mainly prepared for it, I would say. Yep.
Another point to consider is whether you want to choose math or physics. I personally only applied here because of math. I had no clue about physics. I took the IB course, and I only had two sciences, which were biology and chemistry. So I went with the option that offered me math, so that might greatly influence your choices. Also, the agency offered some courses for chemistry, I think, and physics, but I did not take them. I purely just took the past papers and I did them at home. And then I applied, I did the entrance exam. So like I said, I did most of the things by myself, and I did not really join any courses or join any specific groups. And in the end, we ended up in the same place anyway.
Do you want to add something?
Yeah, I also, one of the main reasons Hradec was very convenient for me for the very, very similar point that you get to choose between math and physics. I think other faculties, you do have to do, like you're obliged to do physics, and I didn't know any physics at all. So it's a very good point also to consider, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Do I have to speak Czech to study at your faculty? So, for example, Ahmed, do you learn Czech language?
So yes, so for the first 2 years we learned Czech here. You study in English, but you have to learn Czech for your clinical practice years. And of course, you need to learn some Czech to like have basic convos and like to order a food takeout, like go to a restaurant. So you have to learn some basic Czech. And if you have the time, you can take courses and learn advanced Czech. But for studying here, you only need English and basic medical Czech for examining a patient, taking a history, and that's it. So no Czech.
Some people in the dorms end up learning a bit more Czech than the rest of us, and I know someone personally who's currently taking Czech language courses till now, not till now, recently actually, in order to stay here in Czech Republic after graduation. So you should not be worried a lot about language. A lot of the Czech we learn is for the hospital. So you will have your book anytime and you could open it up and just read some questions. Hopefully you will understand. It's really a practice subject. You just have to be able to interact with people, or whether or not you're interested in interacting with people. It's very individual based. So I know people who are more extroverted, who would make more friends with Czech students, who would, go out more, or who are already planning on settling here in Czech Republic and work here and maybe stay here for the rest of their lives. So they already learned Czech early on. So you should also consider whether or not, if you really want to stay here, especially if you come from like Syria or places, let's say, with weaker passports, they would want to stay here longer because it benefits them much more in the long run. That's it.
Good. And if you like to add anything? For example, Daphne. I know you speak Czech really well, right?
Well, I was a student, as they mentioned. We have 2 years of the clinical language, Czech language, which is, I'm not going to say easy. Czech language is not easy, but because you are getting used to it, everything is on repeat. The questions to the patients, the answers for the patients, so you're going to get used to it. I think now Hradec Kralove and Czech Republic, they are improved with the language of English. Everyone around speaks English. Like when we came, I think it was quite difficult to communicate. But after COVID happened, from what I saw, it's like they improved really rapidly, and all the menus are in English. Everywhere around they speak English nowadays. And this is really helpful, like for me as well, that I'm trying to learn Czech because I'm working and everything has to be in Czech. But it's comforting to me that I can speak English as well outside. So don't be afraid. You can learn if you like it, and you can continue with English if you don't like Czech. It's okay.
Thank you. And we can move to other question. How long does it take to get from your city to Prague? So, for example, Alvin, do you travel to Prague?
Yeah, I travel to Prague quite often. It takes 1.5 hours by bus and train.
Yeah, I would also add that I think the train tickets in Czech Republic, I mean, I haven't been everywhere in Europe, but from what I've seen, they are very, very cheap compared to anywhere else. So literally, if you're bored every single weekend, you can go to Prague and spend the day there and then come back, you know, and the trains are almost operating all day, so every single hour. And 1.5 hours and you're there, so it's very easy, you know, whenever you're bored or anything.
And use your Isaac whenever you can. Use as much student discounts as you can, because trains really get cheaper, especially with the local company, the České dráhy. There's also obviously buses, but the best option is usually trains. If you're worried about connections, just know that Erasmus students come here and they go traveling every other weekend, so it doesn't seem to be a big problem for most students. And since we're in Central Europe, you do have a lot of locations you could go to. You have maybe 3 or 4 countries nearby you could visit. So explore them whenever you can. And like I said, always use your Isaac. It's the best as a student.
Okay, thank you. And now I have a question for our graduate Daphne or Dr. Kapitan. When will students start working with patients in the dentistry program?
Okay, I will answer. Well, the first contact with the real patients is in the half of the study. It means in the 3rd year. In the winter semester of the 3rd year, the students come to the clinic and they try the different procedures among themselves. So one student is the patient, and the other student, for example, do the preventive checkup, or another one applies the local anesthesia, another one places the rubber dam, and these, I would say, not harmful procedures, and the reversible procedures they practice on themselves. And then in the summer term of the 3rd year, they start doing extractions, some simple treatments of teeth. So a simple answer would be in the 3rd year.
Thank you. And what about in program General Medicine?
Yeah, for us, it's also 3rd year as well. We start in the winter semester, I think, with physical exam. Like it's where you learn the very basics of physical examination, for everything, basically, the very, very basics. And you do get in contact with patients for that as well.
Okay, thank you. And we talk about study, and now we move to your hobbies. Do you have time for your hobbies while studying?
So I like to swim, but it's winter and I'm lazy, so I often don't. But I used to go swimming often, and you could also go to the gym. My friend currently does, she likes to paint, and she, let's say, reconnected with her hobby quite late into the course. I'm not sure what kind of hobbies you guys would have. If you like skiing or if you like winter sports, I think Czech Republic would be great anyway. If you like more summer activities, it would be, I guess, difficult. But in summer, you could still go hiking anywhere. There are quite a lot of mountain ranges nearby. And if you really want to, you could make the time. Personally, I get burnt out a lot, so I did not have a lot of motivation to go. I might have the time, but I did not have the motivation. So really think about how much you want to do it, and you'll make time. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, I also want to add for, I'd imagine, all the guys that love playing football or sports in general, this is very easy here. There are football pitches that are available for anyone, you just gather your friends and you go play. Also, ISU organizes sports events sometimes and other events in general, not just sports. So I would say there is time if you just manage, I would say at the let's say my first year, it was very, overwhelming, and it was hard for me to find the time, but if you just manage, you will be able to do everything, I would say. And it's better mentally, because you don't want to just be studying the whole time. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to add that this is one plus point of it being a 6-year course. So as you get adjusted to the course itself, your time for hobbies do increase a lot. So, yeah.
There's also an elective option where you could exercise. I forgot what it was called. I did it in second year. I think, yeah, just called physical education. So you get a point just for going once a week to either football or Zumba, or in my case, it was swimming. So you could also do that if you really want to, and if it's a good motivator, because in the end, you could get a point.
Okay, thank you. And next question on the similar topic. Do you have any student unions at your faculty? So, Alvin.
Yeah. So we have a student union for the internationals known as the ISU, or the International Student Union. I represent the educational bit of the student union, so we provide seminars, discussions, anything and everything related to education-wise stuff of the year. Other than that, I have my colleagues who do social work. Then we've got Cultural Day, that's actually organized by the ISU. We've got sports events. When you guys come into first year, the orientation day, for the most bit of it, is organized by the student union. Except for the ISU as its own entity, we've also got sort of educational student union. So we've got surgical societies, we've got research societies, we've got internal medicine societies. So a lot of opportunities for different students to come and unite. And we've got even a mental health society, which is called Corpus Anonymous. Yeah.
You said Corpus Anonymous?
Yes. Yeah. You're a part of...
Is there an Indian community?
Yes, there are also cultural communities. I forgot about that. So we've got the Japanese communities, we've got an Indian community, Latino community, so there's no lack of it in general in this university.
Okay, thank you. And now a question about accommodation. How much does it cost per month to live in dorms and how much in private accommodation? So, Khaled, do you want to start?
I'm not 100% sure about dorms. I live in a private accommodation, like with another student, and it's currently we pay, I think, around 23,000 Czech crowns, which is less. That's together, not each, which is around a bit less than 1,000 euros, I'd say, and I think this is like very decent if you compare it to other places. Actually, it got a bit expensive, like because of COVID and like what's happening in Ukraine, for example, and everything. So things got a bit expensive, but it's still much less if you compare it to anywhere else. The dorms, I'm not 100% sure if anyone. Yeah.
I believe the dormitory costs around 3,000 Czech crowns. So it's extremely cheap compared to different places out there.
It's definitely much cheaper if you stay in the dorms, but the exact figure, yeah, we're not 100% sure, but yeah.
And I live alone, and I have an elevator in my building, which some buildings don't have that. And it used to be 13,000 and it became 14,000. So for some people it might be too much, but for some Arab girls especially who do not want to live in the dorms, it was acceptable. So you should start looking, and we also have student agencies, like for students and foreigners. So we have 2 agencies here who could help you find accommodation.
Okay, thank you. And now another question about entrance exam. Are calculators and periodic table allowed in the entrance exam? What about you? Did you have a calculator or table during your entrance exam?
Calculators, I think we definitely did. Periodic table, I don't remember, honestly, I don't think. But I don't think you'd need it if it's not there. But calculator for mathematics or physics, I think you can use it basically.
Okay, ladies from the study department had to leave it now, but you can ask us in our group of ambassadors, or you can contact our study department. The contact you can find on our webpage or handout, which you will get from us. So, next question. Are there any students from Germany studying at your faculty? I know 2 German students. What about you?
Yeah, for us, there's a lot of German students. I think maybe, let's say, if we're 50 students, I think at least 10 maybe could be from Germany. So there is a lot of German students, and I think not just our batch, but throughout all the years. Yeah.
At the dentistry study program, we also have several students from Germany.
Okay, thank you. And we talk about student association, and there's another question if we can create new student association at our faculty.
So I think it's possible. So like last couple of years, a lot of student associations were put forward, and like they were held some meetings with Professor Rudolph, who actually let this happen. So we have the Mental Health Association. That was like 2 years ago, and also surgical club. It's maybe like 6 months old, and we also have the Japanese Student Association. So we have a lot of associations, and for a couple of months now we have also a student magazine. So You can, if you love writing, editing, you can participate in the magazine, and you circulate it around. Like it gets sent to students, and yeah. So there's a lot of associations you could take part in. There's a lot of, if you have an idea of an association, you could put it forward, set up a meeting, and it could happen.
Okay, thank you. And maybe the last question, what can I do in Hradec outside studying?
A lot of things. I like running, so I go for runs. I like gymming, so I go to the gym. I like to go to good restaurants and pubs, go over there, have fun. Yep, both day and night, nightlife, you can have whatever you want over here. And you can play a lot of sports over here if you're really willing to as well.
I would say if you're into nature in general as well, Hradec would be the perfect spot for you. Sports, all kind of sports you can do in Hradec. There's like squash centers and stuff you can do. Anything you imagine, I think you can do. And if you're into partying, of course, I think it's very active all night. And yeah, everything.
And also, if you like studying outside your house, for example, you feel comfortable by drinking a coffee. There are so many cafeterias that they provide tables for studying with your own light, your own chair. We used to go as a group of friends and study all together. And we have malls here as well. We have 2 big malls and 1 smaller one. The malls, they have clothes for everything you want. They have like, I don't know, bowling, cinemas, and everything. It's in the city, so don't worry.
So you could also do billiards, and there are 2 swimming pools. There's one where you could do laps in, the large one, and then there's one where you go for fun. Even though it's relatively small, it's indoors and it's open most of the year. So if you want to have fun, you could go there. I'd like to argue that the clubs are not the best, but there are a lot of pubs. So you could always, if you like drinking, a lot of people like beer. Pubs are quite accessible. They're nearby. They're literally everywhere. Yeah, the water park. Oh, there's also a water park that's only open in summer, and that's outdoors. You could check that out. Or ask some students, they might know. What else is there? Cinema? Oh, there's a bouncy place that recently opened in the mall. Trampoline park, yeah. But that's all I could think of.
There's also some cultural life, so there's a philharmony, theaters, cinemas. In the summer there are different big festivals like Rock for People and others. So everyone can find what he wants.
Okay, and now we are at the end of our live stream. So do you have any other question right now? Last question, okay.
I've personally never lived there, but I've seen a lot of it. If you're social, it is extremely fun to live in the dormitory because you meet a lot of people who are studying a lot of different courses, and also Erasmus students who come over there for maybe a year, maximum a year. So you get to interact a lot, as well as they do give food as well. So that's also sorted on that end. Yeah. The food's cheap, the accommodation's cheap, so definitely a big place if you would like to interact with people.
But maybe in terms of like kitchens and your own personal space, it might not be much. So you have 1 floor, and that 1 floor you have rooms which could be either male or female, or some people live there with their boyfriend and girlfriend, so that could also work. But you'll have separated bathrooms. On your floor, you will have a kitchen and a fridge, but there's no oven. There's like one oven that's shared in a space downstairs. The space is quite small, and my items would definitely not fit, I'll be honest. I don't think I could survive there. But I know people who live there, and most of the time they're just socializing, honestly. So if you're very social, or if you want to know people, you should try it out. But if you're more like me, who prefers their own personal space, their own schedule, their own items, doesn't like to share my, let's say, kitchen pots, I prefer to live alone and outside.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other question? Yeah?
As in, like...
International?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yes, we have Erasmus program and many other opportunities to foreign internships. For example, IFMSA internships and many others. I don't know the name of internships. Sorry.
So I did IFMSA, which is 1 month in summer. But for Erasmus, I don't know anyone in the international course who did it. We did, however, receive a lot of students from Portugal and Italy and Spain. Not much from places like France and Germany and, let's say, Scandinavian countries. You could maybe try and apply, but I thought in my situation, since I had my own accommodation anyway, and it's already like expensive, I was like, I don't need to bother going to another country. I could just do my summers in another city. And Erasmus students typically stay 1 semester, and in one case I saw people even stay an entire year in Hradec, but there might have been an exception, maybe during COVID, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I also think it's sometimes hard to, because let's say we have a certain schedule, but maybe in other countries it's different, so sometimes it's very hard to find that, where it fits perfectly, and it could be overwhelming because you're not on track with your course and the university, but so that's why maybe it's not very familiar for people to do it, but yeah.
But that never really stopped them from having fun, really. Like I said, every other weekend they were probably backpacking somewhere, so you should definitely ask if you want, and I don't think it's impossible. I just think that no one from our year groups ever really wanted to do it, because most of us came from like Dubai, and some people came from Germany. They could simply just go back to Germany if they wanted to.
Okay, so thank you for your tips and opinions. Thank you, Wise Dean for Study Programs in English, Professor Rudolf. Thank you, Dr. Kapitan, also our graduate Daphne, and our students who will help with answer your questions. And mainly you, students who are here with us in person, and also you who are watching us online. I hope we will see at entrance exam or at our faculty. So have a nice day. Thank you. Bye.
I'm sorry, I have one last thing I want to say. If there is anyone interested in dentistry and interested